planty people, it's Krista with Botanical Bird, and this week I want to talk all about succulents. So I feel like in the plant community, you either love or hate succulents. Succulents were my gateway plant into complete and crazy plant parenthood, so I'm rather fond of them, but I know that they can be sort of a take it or leave it sort of plant. So kind of just to talk about succulents in general, succulents are a genre of plant. They're not a genus. There's several different or many different genuses within succulents. It's kind of just like talking about like trailing plants or vining plants. Like succulents is just a wide category of different genuses of plants. I think it gets kind of confusing because sometimes people will use cacti and succulents interchangeably, but they're not the same thing. Kind of like how all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. In that same way, all cacti are succulents, but not all succulents are cacti. Does that make sense? Clear as mud? Okay, so some of the just very common genuses within succulents are Echeveria, Euphorbia, Crassula, Senecio, Cereus, Haworthia, Bromeliads, and Kalanchoe. That's definitely not hitting them all, that's just some of the really common ones. So in this video, I want to talk about all the different succulents that I have, or at least most of them. I have so many, I don't know if I want to bore you with every single succulent that I have in my plant fam, but I'll show you a bunch of mine and then just talk about general care tips. It would be more accurate and appropriate to talk about each genus's care tips just because succulents do cover such a wide range of genuses of plants, but given that in general they kind of relatively need similar care, we'll just do as wide ranging as in general of a description as possible. And then if you guys want specific care tips for a specific species or just a general genus, let me know and I can talk about that too. All right, so let's get into the plants. I have them all spaced out here, and so we'll just get through them as quickly as we can. This is my bear paw succulent. It's kind of in a rehab stage. It used to be doing better, but I think I wasn't giving it enough light. Look at the little bear paws, they're so fuzzy. My Haworthia, I love Haworthia because they're known for their clear tips at the top. So this one's kind of stretching out because it's also probably not getting enough light. You see those little clear tips. My Kalanchoe flapjack, which I think is just such a beautiful plant, reminds me of pancakes, obviously. It's a Kalanchoe. This is a Euphorbia dragon bones. I have several Euphorbia, but this might be my absolute favorite. And it usually, ooh, you can see how mine's not maybe the healthiest. I wonder if it has like spider mites or something. All of my Euphorbia, their leaves end up like shriveling and falling off. The plant itself looks healthy, but then the leaves always wither. So I don't know, maybe I'm doing something wrong. If you know what it is, let me know. I'm guessing spider mites. Everyone's gotta love Senecio rallianus or string of pearls. I put mine in a face planter so that it could have hair. My Euphorbia trigona rubra, Euphorbia of mine that don't have a lot of leaves. But I like that it's dark green. It kind of has like a purpley red vibe to it too. I have a ginormous Euphorbia. I think it might just be a straight up Euphorbia trigona. It's just green, but it is so large. It was gifted to me, so thank you. But it is so large, I can't move it, and I don't want to break any of the little arms, and so I'm just gonna put a picture of it here. That one's a pretty new one for me, and it seems to be liking its new home. My pencil cactus, which is kind of unruly, and I love it. It's like going this way. This was a gift also from a coworker from my first professional job, and so it kind of holds a special place in my heart. My ponytail palm. Fun fact, ponytail palms are not palms, they are succulents. I believe this is called a caudex, the really thick kind of trunk-like part of the plant, and that holds and stores a lot of water. So it's actually a succulent. My Cereus peruvianus, I got from a local garden shop, and it used to just be the center stalk, and then it grew 2 babies, and I'm really proud of it. It's still crushing it. An assortment of Carls. If you've watched my videos, you know that I don't know the actual name of this plant because it's from, my boyfriend is an engineer and he has a coworker named Carl, and Carl has lots of plants. He gave some of these plants to one of our other friends, and so he just calls them Carls because they're from Carl. So an assortment of Carls, and I love these because when I have it all together like this, it looks like an octopus to me, and then they grow little baby Carls. Look at this. Here's a little baby Carl. My first time that I saw one, it was during a houseplant tour, I think, when I was living with my friend Angie, and I was like, oh, Carl's a girl. So I was lucky enough that Carl gave me many more Carls, so now I have an octopus of Carls. Oh, and if you do know the botanical name of this plant, please feel free to put it in the comments below. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep calling it a Carl. My fishbone cactus or rickrack cactus or zigzag cactus has so many different names. I am so impressed with this plant. It started out just as like 2 little stalks down here and then grew all these crazy arms. This one's a big favorite of mine. Okay, this plant is a little worse for wear. I actually just had to get rid of one of the whole stalks because my cat got to it and it was just starting to kind of rot. So I actually pulled off the, oh, okay. Can I do a blooper reel? Man, I think I need to just bury this further down in the soil. But I pulled off, gently twisted off the pads from the other one that I just got rid of so I can propagate those hopefully. Here's a fresh one. It's very, oops, it's very light green. I believe it's a variegated Opuntia coccinellifera or coccinellifera. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I'm gonna put the name down here just like all the others. It's variegated, so it's beautiful. So this is a tiger tooth aloe. It's called the tiger tooth because of its little spikes. Also has little BBs coming out of the bottom. Man, aloe are awesome like that. A bunny ear cactus, which if I had to guess its genus, I would probably say Opuntia, just like the other Opuntia that I just showed you. But this one has several babies coming out of the top, new pads, so I'll give you a close-up. This one at the top is really long. I don't know what that's doing. Maybe they're stretching, maybe it needs more light. This is a grafted cactus, which calling it a grafted cactus gives you almost no information because grafted just means it's 2 different plants put together. And so I don't know what, I think the bottom might be some kind of Euphorbia trigona just because it has the 3 sides, but the top I have no clue. So here's this guy. These are commonly grafted together. And last but never least, my assorted succulent garden. So I think I have some kind of euphorbia back here. This one's just some crazy, I like to call it a coral cactus or a coral succulent. I don't know if it actually is. Here's another Haworthia right here in the middle. I named it Zeke. It was one of my very first plants and it was also a gift from a friend, so thank you, Beth. I got some aloe here and some other assorted unknown plants. All right, so those are basically all of my succulents. I have a couple more, but we're not gonna worry about them now. All right, so now talking about the general care for most succulents. As far as light goes, they can kind of range from bright indirect light to direct light. I really like when I drive by people's houses and I see that they have an outdoor succulent garden. That's like a life goal of mine. So basically, really bright light. If you're going to go from an bright indirect light environment to a direct light environment, I recommend doing it slowly. Your succulents can definitely get sunburn. So be careful if you're gonna change its light environment. I had mentioned for a couple of mine, they can start to stretch out, which basically means that they're not getting enough light, and so they stretch and reach for the light. So you'll get like a farther distance between the nodes of the plants, or they're gonna start to like make funny shapes. And some people like that, and that's totally cool. It's just hard to kind of reverse it after a plant has started to reach and stretch out. If you're gonna do that, you basically have to cut back down to where the plant looked healthy and like it wasn't stretching or reaching, and then kind of grow from there. If you just try to stick the plant in more light, it's not gonna like reverse that growth that is stretched out. As far as water goes, generally wait until the soil is 100% completely dry before watering again. One of the easiest ways to kill succulents is to overwater them. For humidity, you want to keep the humidity low. Generally succulents, and that's not always true, like there are some epiphytic succulents that are used to high humidity that grow in more rainforesty environments, but generally lots of succulents grow in more deserty environments, and so low humidity is good for them. As far as fertilization goes, in the growing season, which is spring and summer, you want to fertilize them once a month with half-strength succulent fertilizer. I actually haven't fertilized my succulents because I haven't ever bought any special succulent fertilizer. So I don't know what would happen if you fertilize them with normal houseplant fertilizer. If anyone wants to try it, or if you want me to try it, I can. Let me know in the comments and I can do that experiment. So that's pretty much it in general. I don't want to say that succulents are easy because I don't like that stereotype of like easy and challenging plants, because some low care, easy plants are hard for me. So in general, they don't require watering as often, but that can be just as hard, right? If you're not sure if a plant needs water and you end up over watering it and killing it, that can be a big challenge. So that's it for this video. If you guys have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section below. I would love to hear if you are pro or con succulent. It's totally okay if you are. More succulents for me. And if you like this video, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, Botanical Bird, and bird has a U in it, not an I. Follow my planty Instagram, which is at botanical_bird, and you can find us on Etsy, on our website, which is botanicalbird.com, and on Facebook Marketplace if you are interested in any of our planty products for sale. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, we're rooting for you. Bye.